You're watching Novara TV, I'm Craig McVegas. We're at the national demonstration for free education, which has been called by the National Campaign Against Fees and Cuts and the Student Assembly Against Austerity. It's been supported by the Young Greens, but controversially the NUS has pulled its support. Now, it's expected to be the largest demonstration since 2010. It's pretty huge. Police numbers are very low on the ground. Mostly these guys in the blue bibs around, police liaison officers. Haven't seen any TSG, no riot cops yet, but there is a police helicopter right above us. I'm here with Callum, an undergraduate from Warwick University. Callum, why are you here today?
I'm here because our generation is facing real wage drops. We're facing a graduate job market which is looking increasingly terrifying, and my year is the first year to be carrying, on average 44 grand's worth of debt whilst doing that. So we need to mobilise a collective response to that and bring students together into some kind of extra parliamentary opposition which can manifest some power to fight back against, austerity.
I'm still going to go to uni, I'm still going to do law, even if it costs me an arm and a leg, but it shouldn't cost me an arm and a leg. Education should be a right, it should be something everybody strives for, and if people are avoiding learning just because it costs them money, that's not fair.
I'm here with Deborah Hermans from National Campaign Against Fees and Cuts. She's been one of the main organisers of the demonstration. Deborah, you come from Germany, where now we have free education. What impact is that going to have for the demand for free education here? Do you think it makes it more possible?
Yeah, I think it makes it more possible because England is becoming more and more isolated in Europe. England is the most expensive country to study. More and more countries in Europe are dropping tuition fees. We can learn from Germany, we can learn from that movement. It took them about 8 years. What they did is they slowly convinced the public through a broad range of tactics, direct action, occupations, demonstrations, but also actually engaging with unions and engaging with loads of different sections of society. And so they managed to get this consensus that free education was something that was beneficial to the whole of society, which eventually convinced the most conservative government to drop tuition fees.
Studies have shown that Germany is getting that money back within 5 years because people are staying on, they're paying into the system through taxes when they go and find work afterwards. So it's not true that it's not sustainable to be doing it in that way, and I think that's the way that the UK needs to be looking.
In terms of funding, we are calling for a system of progressive taxation, a system which 96% of the population happen to be in favour for, which means basically that the wealthiest in society, arguably those who have benefited most from our capitalist system, will be taxed higher and will fund things which are social good, for example education, public sector, the NHS.
We have a situation in Scandinavia that for decades and decades has funded free education through taxing corporations and taxing the rich, and we have a situation in the UK where we have a funding gap which is partially created by the fact that the corporate world is not being taxed as they should do.
I think the main challenges actually haven't really been political. When we're speaking to people about the concept of free education, they're very, very for it. Our main challenges have been bureaucratic ones. So obviously we're all aware of what happened with the NUS, also in terms of getting student unions on board who are really muzzled by the Education Act, are really afraid to do anything with big P politics.
The NUS UK has pulled out of its support for this demonstration. Why is NUS Scotland still supporting it?
NUS Scotland is still supporting it because we fundamentally believe in free education. Therefore, the right thing to be doing is out on the streets supporting our students, fighting for it.
Any words for the NUS?
Just that we think they should support free education and not by just writing paper briefings.
I think the fact that we're organising so hard, people in the National Campaign Against Fees and Cuts are doing what NUS should be, is pushing them further and further into irrelevance. I think they're scared, and that's why they've just released a blog about free education, because we're actually talking to students, we know what students want. I don't think they care about students at all.
I'm here with Sam, who's a PhD student. Sam, what do you think about the efficacy of the A to B march?
A to B marches don't necessarily always work. They have a certain spatiality to them. I'm interested to see how the police respond to these types of events, how they mobilise in response to what they might perceive as being sort of risky actions or actions that they can't quite contain or sort of quell, perhaps.
Parliament Square. As was promised in the call out by the students against boredom, they have occupied the green here. Now we've got 1, 2, 3 lines of defence, supposedly. People are now sort of leaping over. I think the aim is to have a General Assembly inside. The Assembly is now finished. Samba Band is playing in the green. 2 quite distinct groups have come out of this. One group has gone down towards the House of Commons, down towards where the rally is, and the other group is sort of hanging around here at the moment. Now my guess would be that they're going to head off in the Victoria direction. It's been much bigger than probably anticipated, particularly with the withdrawal of the NUS. I know that during the week there's a lot of firefighting going on with the NUS, like actively trying to get student unions to withdraw their coaches. So that considered, it's been pretty big. It's been very, very noisy. The taking of the square, we could probably take that as a success for what it was. Ultimately, maybe the main thing that's changed since the previous student demonstrations that we've seen is that the police really have taken this standoffish approach. We saw a similar thing at Cops Off campus. The police are there, but they're very much keeping back, letting people do their thing, sending police liaison out instead. This has very much been a PR exercise for the Met.
We need to see this demonstration as like the first thing of a mass movement, and it will take years, but we need to be consistent. We need to take it back to our campuses. We need to bring it into schools, into colleges, and there's like loads of schools and college students here, which is great. Like that's the kind of thing that we need, and yeah, hopefully we'll talk again in 8 years and we'll have free education.